following program is rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, yes, that is so true. Truer words have never been said. It does not matter who the host is. That is for sure. Anyways, how are you? How are things going on inside of your neck of the woods? Because, you know, that's always an important factor to what exactly is going on here. That is what's happening. Of course, you know, we don't start off anything without any kind of computer situations as we are going forward. Anyway, today's Friday. Yes, there is no doubt about that. The 13th. Yes, Friday the 13th of 2023, day 13th of the year, just in case if you got lost in that transition that you didn't know what day of the year it was. Also, there's about 352 days left to go as we're going through this whole thing here, and we're going to get it moving and grooving and all that kind of fun stuff. I do not like some of these camera angles this morning. Yes, that's for sure. I feel like you're extremely close. I think that we're close here. I think that we don't need to be that close in life. Anyways, we are broadcasting live from the Safety 2 Practical Application Conference that's taking place in St. Petersburg, Florida. Just in case if you're looking around, if you're on the streamer-emer, I'm going, that's not your normal place. Yes, you're absolutely right. That is not the norm. That is not the place that we normally hang out in. That is for sure. But anyways, as we are broadcasting, today is Friday, which is Freeform Friday. As we are broadcasting live, we are also being infiltrated.
You're being infiltrated. Radio Big.
Okay, some infiltration in Radio Big never hurts things of the sequence of events. That is for sure, as we are hanging out. So as you are aware, it is 3 minutes past the top of the hour. And, you know, if you are in the Eastern time zone, it is 7 a.m. So that kind of makes it one of those weird things. So this conference does not start until, so let's make sure that we're clear. Does not start until 8:30. So I'm here way before anybody else, and the building's on lockdown, which makes it an interesting scenario. And it's not that I'm not accustomed to being by myself, but it's being myself in such a giant room that it becomes very confusing for me from time to time. But that's okay. Those things do tend to happen. So we're going to talk today a little bit about free form of everything. And I was kind of thinking about this, and I didn't know if we should go into our traditional standard free form, because that's going to be something to think about, or if we should do it a little bit more free forming in a different format. And maybe talk a little bit of what I've learned this week. Yeah, it sounds like, you know, I'm coming back from going to a conference, and you know how you have to sometimes report to work and tell everybody what the hell was going on during the conference to make sure and give you some validation of the things that are going on, and maybe that will be some of the sense of discussion of what is going on. And I'll have to tell you, even though I've been doing this for a little bit of time, I never kind of put in the sequence there of really thinking about this and going, hey, on how well this kind of comes into the whole sequence of looking at things from the standpoint of the medical industry, of looking at this from the standpoint on how there are people that are not out, that are outside of what that we would consider the norm in regards of what is going on and how this is being viewed. And I know that sounds kind of strange because I look at it and go, well, I should have been going duh the whole time, knowing that this is something that is taking place, but I didn't look at it in that format. I looked at it from the format of, you know, is there really a lot of practitioners that are out there outside of the standard safety stuff that are going out there and doing this? And I guess to answer the question or the answer to the question is yes. It is yes. People have been looking at this from an outside point of view and looking at it from a different perspective and not really only being the safety practitioners that are out there. So as we're going to talk a little bit about that, don't worry, we'll get into some other stuff as we are talking. So we are going through all of these things. So as we start talking right away, why don't we start talking about the things that were trending in the overnight?
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so taking it from the top of the list as we are going through all of the stuff, the preliminary hearing for Brian Collerberg murder trial has been pushed back till June as he was waived his rights to get it done in the next 14 days. We can talk a little bit more about that in just a bit. Also, Julia Wolf, Wild, and Molly are out with new music, and the New Music Friday. We can talk about that. Joe Brayers is out there doing some observed claims. We can talk a little bit more about that and some show business stuff. Following the Benghazi pedophile adjacency recent scandals, Kim Kardashian is putting some of the distance between her and the fashion house, so we'll talk about that. And as Pepsi pushes its new soda, Starry, relive 5 big new product flops from the recent years. We can talk about some of those things because I think you're going to consider potentially some of that important. Also, I know that I've been talking about what's going on with the lottery every day, but realize that, sometimes some of these things don't make sense to some people, so we'll kind of go through that and talk about that differently going forward, because some people go, why do you talk about this every single day opposed to giving us some other information? I know that we cover a lot of the new stuff, so that could be good, bad, or indifferent depending on how you're taking a look at it. So if you're kind of new to this and what we do here, let me explain how the Hangout works. It's a simple process. It's not that difficult to do. It's easy to follow along. If you want to interact with the show, you go to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com, and we'll get you piped through. Most of the times we'll take the messages. We don't do the piping in because I'm terrible at some of those things in regards to getting people piped in properly. So just want to give you the FYI there. So don't be upset if I don't answer right away, because that's what some people take a look at. Also, the other side is that we talk about safety in the news and news and safety. So you'll notice that a lot of the stuff that we carry here or cover is related to news and what's going on inside of the world of the news, because I always have looked at this is that you need some level of entry point before you start having a discussion about safety with most people. You can't just walk in and go, hey, let me give you my alphabet soup, and not go in and kind of do some prep work before you go into some other things. So keep that in mind as we are talking on this lovely. So with that being said, let's get you moving and grooving right away into what the hell is going on inside of the world of the news, because I think that some people are going to find that to be kind of important.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Michael Kastner. Attorney General Merrick Garland is appointing a special counsel to oversee the investigation into President Biden's handling of classified documents from his tenure as vice president. NBC's Kristen Welker.
Garland naming Robert Hur, a former federal prosecutor and U.S. attorney during the Trump administration, to see if any laws were broken. Garland saying classified documents from the Obama administration were found by Biden attorneys in 2 locations.
Biden's private attorneys found the materials with classified markings which date back to the Obama administration at the Penn Biden Center in Washington, D.C., and in storage at his Delaware home. Attorneys said in both cases they turned over the materials to the National Archives once they were discovered. At least 7 people are dead and a dozen or more are injured after tornadoes ripped through Alabama and Georgia on Thursday. Aldrich Lant got a warning on his phone just before the twister hit.
Just out of nowhere, I heard a sound I never heard before. It sounded like a freight train come through here. And the wind picked up so strong, I had to jump out, and I ran out because everything was shaking like never before.
The fatalities were reported in Atauga County, and officials in the city of Selma say there is significant damage there. Governor Kay Ivey has declared a state of emergency for at least 6 counties, while Georgia is under a statewide emergency. Thousands of customers in both states were without power as of Thursday evening. Forecasters say more than 35 million people in the southeast are under some level of threat for severe storms. The deadly storms starting the new year have dramatically improved the status of California's drought. In just 1 week, California has gone from having 27% of the state in extreme drought to less than 0.5%. More Democrats than ever identify as liberal. A new Gallup poll found 54% of Democrats identified as liberal last year. That's up from 50% in 2021. Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
Mayor Lori Lightfoot is apologizing after her campaign sent out emails to Chicago public schools teachers for the purpose of recruiting student volunteers for her re-election campaign. The mayor said reaching out to CPS teachers was clearly a mistake by a single campaign staffer and that it will never happen again.
As soon as I learned about the outreach to the CPS teachers, we put a stop to it. Bottom line here is it was clearly a mistake.
Lightfoot's comments followed the public backlash, including some who called the move unethical. The CPS Inspector General launched an investigation into the controversy, and the Chicago Board of Ethics put it on its January 23rd agenda. A Texas man has confessed to killing and decapitating his wife at their home. 21-year-old Jared Dykes was taken into custody Wednesday. Waller County Sheriff Troy Guidry says the 21-year-old victim's body was first discovered that afternoon by the suspect's family.
He left his residence, walked into the parents' residence, which induced them questioning where she was, and they went out back and found her.
Dykes and his wife lived in that house just behind his parents' home. Sheriff Guidry describes the murder scene as gruesome and says the murder weapon appears to have been a kitchen knife. The cousin of Black Lives Matter founder Patrisse Cullors is dead after being repeatedly tasered by police. More from Trey Thomas.
The Los Angeles Police Department has released body cam footage of the January 3rd encounter, which began after a car accident.
They tried to kill me! Hey, stop him or tase you! Stop him or tase you! Reload tried to kill me!
Video shows Keenan Anderson visibly distressed when cops arrive on the scene. Anderson initially complies with orders, but eventually ran into the street where he was restrained and tasered repeatedly by police. He was transported to a hospital where he died a few hours later.
Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at MobileMobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to MobileMobile.io. That's MobileMobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello. Hey, Dad. Your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad. Your laundry will be ready in just a minute. Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey. Why don't you take a minute?
When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can, making sure they're safe and comfortable. But it's just as important that you take some time for yourself. At AARP, we can help with information and useful tips on how you can maintain a healthy life balance, care for your own physical and mental well-being, and manage the challenges of caring for a loved one. Because the better care you take of yourself, the better care you can provide for your loved one.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you. You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
All right, class. Let's hear what everyone did this weekend. Jill?
Well, I raised my older sister to a big oak tree. It was at least 100 years old. My mom said I must have set a record or something. And then we went down by a stream and perched up on this huge rock and saw all of these little minnows swimming around way below us. And then I rescued my little brother from an evil slug king who was guarding him at the bush fortress. And my sister and I brought him back to our super twig fort for safety. And then we all laid out and told stories until it got dark. And the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Wow. Awesome. Where were you, Jill?
Yeah. We went to the forest. It's not that far away. Anyone want to come this weekend?
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week and find the fun, adventurous you. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Do you have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants' fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com. For more information, lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants.
Prepare yourself.
We are now being distributed on iHeartRadio. Listen on iHeartRadio app. Radio Big.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, so there you go. Currently 18 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely, lovely Friday. There is no doubt that how lovely it is as we are talking about it. Anyways, we are broadcasting live from the Safety 2 Practical Application Conference taking place in St. Petersburg, Florida. Now, listen, I have to tell you this because I was like in total, let's see, how can I say this? I was totally impressed with some of the information that has been provided to me this week about what the hell is going on inside of here. So what's exactly going on in Johns Hopkins? And I was not aware of this, but if Johns Hopkins is to lose power, they have enough energy to stay alive for 3 weeks. And this is a huge complex. I mean, a huge complex. And they're able to stay alive for 3 weeks in regards to having power resources. Also, the other thing is that in this area, they are the only hospital to have a helipad that can actually take a Blackhawk. Take a Blackhawk into it. I mean, it's amazing what they're doing inside of this general area and what they're doing overall in regards of children's hospitals. So I've been pretty impressed just to hear some of the news of what's going on and some of the things that are taking place here. And of course, having the great opportunity to be able to help out and, bring some information and talk about some of the things that are going on inside of this world that, it's not something that we normally talk about on this show. So anytime that I can bring up some things that we normally don't do, or that we normally are not privy to, of course I want to talk about it. So don't worry about that. So let's get into this real quick. Let's get into what it was going on inside of the world of the news, because there's a lot of things that have happened in the last 23 hours. So let's start talking about it. Twitter is making a push into a creator economy where accounts try to get people to pay them for the videos, art, and other online content with the creation of the currency-specific Twitter platform simply called coins. This is according to Engadget report. Now, listen, I'm gonna make reference to this because if Twitter's gonna start doing this, let's start talking about some of the stuff that Instagram is doing, where you can actually sign up for an Instagram account and, you're following someone, and then all of a sudden now they have what we're gonna call quote unquote premium content. Yeah, premium content. So are you willing to pay someone for their premium content? Now, listen, I'll tell you, for the premium content that I have seen around there, it's anywhere between $5 to $10. I'm just wondering, is this thing where they're trying to compete with what the hell was going on with OnlyFans?
Another pitfall of our society. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so worth noting about that real quick. This isn't exactly the same thing that Twitter was creating when its own cryptocurrency. It's more than calling it the app mechanism that would empower users to pay people for their content. The Coins platform would be an extension of a tipping feature that already exists, which allows users to send money to accounts often as they want to say thank you. I mean, I don't know. It's just a weird thing to me. Like, is that where your business model kind of goes? And how do you feel about that? I mean, it's weird. I mean, I understand that you want to be a content creator, but also at the same time as you're doing content, do you feel right about charging people for something that's normally on what you could say a publicly accessible platform? I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing. Let's talk about this. Speaking of content creators, Sam Bankman-Fried apparently has set up his own Substack. Which is the first of its own posts that appears to be detailed explanation on why he is not a criminal, but just totally incompetent as an executive. SBS Substack is now free. So there you go. I'm sure that at some point they'll probably charge you for some level of a premium content there as well. So be on the lookout for that. What else do I see that's going on? Well, the lawyer for the Idaho murder suspect, Brian, said that he's waiving his rights to a speedy preliminary hearing within the next 14 days, suggesting that the accused killer's lawyer intends to challenge some of the evidence that is laid out in discovery. This is coming via Fox News. Worth noting, the arrest affidavit connects a lot of dots between the murder scene and Brian, but much of it is circumstantial. So the preliminary hearing will now be at the end of June, probably over the last 5 days of June. So we're going to be talking about this inside of the media for quite some time. A study out of the Ohio State University shows that the performing good deeds for others has a bigger effect on improving the good deed doer's mental health than other, psychiatric techniques like planning social activities or going through a bit of therapy. Those who reported being the happiest performed the acts of kindness, small and large, and sometimes as simple as just leaving a sticky note with a message of gratitude for a roommate or baking goods for a friend. I think I like that second idea better if you want to bake some goods for me. Doing nice things for people and focusing on the needs of others is actually a way to help people with depression and anxiety feel better about themselves. And the study led research said that's how it actually took place. Now, listen, last night I'm looking at a post. Some guy is online and he has this sign and he turns around and he says, "Listen, I am suffering of depression and I just need someone to talk to." And in turn, nobody comes up to him. And then he flips the sign around and says, "Hey, I have free money and there's some bills associated to it, and take it." And then he makes the comment of how people will come for the free stuff, but not actually come in and assist with others, which it makes it an interesting perspective. So I'm definitely interested in what the hell's going on there. There is no doubt about that as we are talking. Anyways, let's continue talking a little bit. Over 2,000 years ago, Greek historian Strabo wrote about the magnificent temple of the sea god Poseidon and, about what was going on the coast there. Now, archaeologists think that they found it. The site says they first discovered it back in 2021 and continue excavations and research suggests that this might be the temple of historians have long sought to find. The area is also believed to have endured two major tsunamis through the history, once in the 6th century and again in the 14th century, and some believe that the place experiencing significant seaborne natural disasters would be the perfect place for the ancient people to worship and pay tribute to their god of the sea. What do you think there? I think it's a lot of stuff there. I mean, how would you go around and say, okay, we are paying tributo to the whole thing, because that's going to be the next thing that we're going to talk about. So anyways, take a listen to this. A Texas football coach is on leave after reportedly making players do more than 300 push-ups as a part of an intense off-season workout. What's wrong with 300 push-ups? I mean, don't you kind of want to build the stuff? Anyways, an unidentified number of participants were diagnosed with a condition resulting from muscle releasing an excess of protein and electrolytes into the bloodstream that can cause a heart attack and kidney damage. Okay, well, that's a different story. Now we're talking about a different story. I mean, think about it in that fashion. Totally different there.
Ugh.
It's not like it's the normal thing. Anyways, a team captain, Brady Luff, defended the coach and telling ABC affiliate that the workout wasn't any different than any other workout we've done before, intensity-wise. That's, of course, that's the reference. And noted that the players weren't forced to do the workout. I mean, you do have that thing that I call the illusion of choice. You know, you choose to do it or you choose not to do it, and then you kind of go from there. There is no way around that. I mean, just think about that as we are talking. Anyways, in some other news, if you're not doing much on this lovely Friday, let's go ahead and talk about what you might be able to sit back at home and watch on a streaming service or two. There is no doubt here. New to Hulu is The Drop. And what else do we have? A Kind of Murder. Those are both on Hulu. And then new to Netflix coming up is Doggone. And I have to tell you this next news story, and I was in total shock last night when I heard this, and I couldn't believe it, and I thought it was bullshit at first, and went looking around and trying to find out what exactly was going on. But Lisa Marie Presley, the only child of Elvis Presley, has died. Yeah, that's not a joke. News broke on Thursday that she had been admitted to an ICU near her home in Calabasas, California, and was on life support with temporary pacemaker after suffering a cardiac arrest. Her sudden death comes 2 days after she attended the Golden Globe ceremony in support of the biopic Elvis. She was 54. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I was in total shock last night, sitting in my hotel room, and I'm reading it, and I could not believe it. It's just one of those things that you don't think that that's going to happen, and voila, just out of the blue. I mean, in total shock in regards of what was going on. I'm still in shock now as we are talking about it. It is 27 minutes past the top of the hour. Let's talk a little bit more about some things that are going on. A company in Virginia alerts residents about their pesky bugs. Richard Sterling has more information.
Orkin has been servicing bed bugs in Virginia a lot more as of late. That's according to a new list by the pest control company that ranks the worst cities for the insects. Norfolk and Richmond are on the middle of the list. The pest control company says that bed bugs are common in homes and commercial businesses like hotels. People that find bed bugs in their homes should seek professional treatment. I'm Richard Stelling.
Oh, yeah, because that's exactly what you want to hear, is that you're moving somewhere and all of a sudden there's a ton of bed bugs, or you're there and bed bugs are here, there, and everywhere. Not really the way that I want to start off my morning. That is for sure. Anyway, take a listen to this. A very rare sight in the early morning skies. Take a listen to this.
Astronomers at Palomar Observatory in San Diego have discovered a rare green comet. They found it back in March of last year and has a very scientific name, C/2002E3. That comet's now cruising close to the sun, and you can see it. Wait for it to get dark and look to the northeast before sunrise. You should be able to see a glowing green tail with the naked eye, although binoculars or a telescope would help. If you miss it, you'll have another chance to see it when it passes closer to the Earth, February 1st and 2nd. By the way, the green tail is caused by ice bypassing the liquid state and quickly turning into gas. I'm Bree Tennis, NBC News Radio.
Okay, thank you, Bree, for the information right there as we are talking. Take a listen to this. A sewage spill in California, and the valley is far from more severe than originally thought. Daniel Martindale has some more info.
The Ventura County Environmental Health Division now says 14 million gallons of raw sewage has spilled into San Antonio Creek. It started when heavy rain overwhelmed the sewer system and damaged a sewer main on Tuesday. The sewage went into the Ventura River, which carried it down to the ocean in the city of Ventura. Beaches in the affected area are now closed after water tests failed to meet state bacteria standards. Ventura County is expecting 2 more rainstorms between tonight and Tuesday. I'm Daniel Martindale.
Okay, let's be realistic. That's not the news you want to be hearing about something that's going on there. That is for sure. Anyway, there was a protest planned over the plans of the build a casino in Nassau County. Scott Pringle has more information.
Las Vegas Sands is applying for a license from the state to turn 80 acres by Nassau Coliseum into an entertainment venue and hotel, and that would include a casino. It would bring thousands of jobs to the area, but some local leaders say this could be a danger to young people. Judy Courtney's with the Garden City Property Owners Association.
I think everybody needs to get involved, learn more, go to meetings and ask really hard questions, and then we can decide what's best for everybody.
Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman says the developer must win over community support.
I consistently say that I'm going to keep an open mind.
Scott Pringle, NBC News Radio, New York.
Okay, thank you, Scott Pringle, for that information that's going on right there. Take a listen to this. A white man has been sentenced to 11 years in prison on a hate crime charges for stabbing a black man in Ventura. Daniel Martindale reports.
Prosecutors say the man hurled racial slurs at the victim and threatened him while they were inside a convenience store in May of 2021. The two men then got into a fight, which ended with the suspect pulling a knife and stabbing the victim outside. The man was found guilty on 5 charges in October, including a hate crime threat. I'm Daniel Martindale.
Okay, thank you, Daniel, for that information right there as we are hanging out. It's always amazing to me just to take a listen to some of the other aspects of the world that are just going on inside of there. It's just amazing on hate crimes, on the things that still happen till this day, where you think some of the stuff has died down, but then you kind of come to the realization that that really isn't the case whatsoever. So let's make sure that as we have these discussions, is this not one of those things that kind of goes untold, because it is important to reference some of the things that are happening inside of the network of the world. Anyways, with that being said, it is Freeform Friday. I was debating about not doing this, but let's do it.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's talk about it. Let's go into it, and let's talk about some of the things that are going on inside of the world. And listen, I don't know how to tell you this. I don't know how to reference this. I can only sit back for a moment and go, listen, my life consists of a lot of different things, and sometimes there's some good things, sometimes there's some bad things, sometimes there's just things in general that we can talk about, and sometimes there's things that we can't talk about, but I try to keep it as realistic as possible as you and I converse here. But in looking around in what we do for work, I really think that we have gotten to the point that the world is changing a lot more than what you and I believe. The world is changing in a way that we're opening our eyes to a scenario that we didn't expect. And let's kind of backtrack for a moment. And I want to reference this because I think it's important. You know how you'll go to the movies and you'll watch a movie and you'll watch part 1 of a movie and go, wow, that movie was good. And then you hear about the sequel that's coming out. And you take a look and you go, sequel? Sequels normally suck. Let's be realistic. And then you go watch the movie and you're amazingly surprised that this is one of the few movies, this is the Terminator 2 of movies, that the sequel was better than the original. Now, let's not get into Terminator 3. I mean, I'm not picking on Arnold here. I'm just making a reference. But you look at it and you go, wow, things have really changed and they got better than what they originally were. And to an extent, let's have that feelings moment. Yeah, so we should go ahead and say that
feelings moment
about how the life has changed when it comes to the world of safety. And let's talk about that. Let's talk about Safety 2, or in this case, Safety the sequel. I am amazed till this day on what people are doing out there. And I will tell you, until probably this week, I knew that there were some people in the medical field that were attempting some of this, but I did not realize to what level the medical field is going after Safety 2. And seeing someone like Jim Frederick come in from OSHA this week and hang out here and talk about some of the things that OSHA is doing and how they're changing into some levels of Safety 2. And taking a look around and going, this is the sequel that people wanted. And let's be realistic. The name Safety 1 and Safety 2 kind of suck. There is no doubt about that. Listening to Eric Hollnagel speak and saying that, hey, we should probably change from thinking about safety and stop managing safety to start managing safely. Now, think about that transition of words there. Not managing safety, but managing safely. the impact of the change of the letter. Isn't that interesting? So if you were going to change things and you were going into this sequel, because a lot of expectations sometimes go into sequels, how does safely look to you? How does safety currently look to you? How does it roll out within your organization? Maybe those are the things that we need to be discussing, not some root cause analysis or some other aspect of bullshit that's out there that really doesn't work. Because let's be real, a lot of the stuff that's there is paperwork. It's not about doing process and procedures in regards of trying to make things better. It's about ass-covering techniques of what is going on. And I know it's Friday and we're supposed to be freeform and trying to keep it, kind of slow. Not the rough thought today, not the rough talk in regards to the things. But think about this for a moment. Analyze that for a moment. Why is it that we think that the paperwork is so important? How that is going to make us safer. And when you start interacting with people, especially like in the medical field, that are doing life-impacting events, I mean, you can't really think about them and say, hey, do they care anymore? They have committed their life to save lives. How do you tell someone like that, be safer, care more? Think about that. So maybe the aspect here today is, how do you transition from safety to safely? Is it possible to do it in your organization with the way that it is currently set up? Maybe that is the thing to think about today.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with Home Title Lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home Title Locks puts a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HometitleLock.com.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, are you tired of hanging around and talking about safety in a boring kind of format? Well, I got something for you. If you haven't hung out with us yet at safetyfm.com, I'm going to encourage you to do so. Yeah, if you come out to Safety FM, you can come hang out with all kinds of safety professionals. Some are safety professionals, some are just people that are talking about safety. But we want to do it in a format that makes it fun and entertaining. If you're kind of trying to figure out what the FM portion is, well, we're a radio station and also a podcast network. You can come out, hang out, and listen to my show, The Jay Allen Show. You can listen to Todd Conklin with the pre-accident investigation, Blaine J. Hoffman with the Safety Pro, the Hop Nerd, Sam Goodman, just to name a few on what can be found on the station. Different things for different people, trying to bring safety in an entertaining form. SafetyFM.com. Go to the website, download the app, and carry it with you all day long. SafetyFM.com. We'll be waiting for you. Okay, here you go. 43 minutes past the top of the hour. As we are hanging out from the Safety 2 Practical Application Conference, coming to you from St. Petersburg, Florida. Oh yes, the Florida thing. You know, that's how that goes. Anyways, the music in the background there, this is called Shadows. This one's by Young Charlie. Yes, Charlie's still young. Songs readily available on Spotify and iTunes. If you want to give it a download-y-ody as we are doing our stuff. So anyways, I have to tell you that, in regards to stuff that I owe you, we are extremely backed up today. So let's go ahead and probably get you moving into some of those things. So thanks to Young Charlie once again for Shadows. So let's get into it as we are 44 minutes past the top of the hour, hanging out here and doing all the fun stuff. So let's talk about it real quick, because I have to tell you about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime. And that's about my friends at the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. You can contact them anytime, 24/7. There's about 3 different ways you can do this relatively easy. You can go to their website at 988lifeline.org. That's 988lifeline.org. You can go to, let's see. You can go to that. You can text the word TALK to 988, or you can just call 988. Listen, they can help you prevent suicide. The Lifeline provides 24/7 free and confidential information for people that are in distress, prevention crisis resources, and for you, for your loved one, and the best practices in the U.S. So listen, if you are struggling, this is the best resource to get to. There is no doubt about that as we are talking on this fantastic Friday. So there you go. Anyways, let's get into it real quick. Let's talk about what the hell is going on inside of the world of the market. So I owe you some John Smalls. So let's get some John Smalls inside of here for him to tell you what's going on.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Friday, January 13th, 2023. Equity markets seesawed on Thursday following an as-expected CPI report. The report shows inflation declined by 1% from the previous month, but the year-over-year comparison remains hot. In this scenario, the FOMC can be counted on to hike interest rates by at least 75 basis points before stopping, if not more. The real takeaway is that pressure on the economy will not let up anytime soon. Today's news will be centered around the big banks. The U.S. largest banks are reporting earnings today, and the results and outlook will have a bearing on the direction of the S&P 500 this year. As it is, the outlook for earnings continues to sour. If the banks add to this trend, the S&P 500 will likely move lower by the end of the reporting season. You can get the inside track from Wall Street's brightest minds delivered directly to your inbox every day at marketbeatminute.com.
Okay, thank you, Johnny Smalls, for that information right there, always keeping us up to date on what the hell is going on. There is no doubt about that. So anyways, the Dow added about 216 points to close at 34,187 on Thursday. The S&P added about 13 points to close at 3,983, and the NASDAQ added about 69 points to close at 11,001. West Texas Intermediate was at $78 a barrel, and Brent crude was at about 83. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.27. Bitcoin surged on Thursday, trading just above $19,000 to part the day before sliding back down to $18,700. Okay, so now sit back, relax. I'm going to tell you the next portion here. There were more than 5,800 flights delayed within, into, and out of the United States on Thursday, with about 180 cancellations. So that's a lot of delays and not that many cancellations. I guess that's kind of a bonus, maybe? I don't know. Anyways, tonight's Mega Millions drawing will be for $1.35 billion. That's the jackpot. Or you can take a $707.9 million cash payout. Saturday night's Powerball drawing will be for $404 million or a $211.7 million cash payout. So there you go. Also, I would normally tell you what exactly were the songs that came out today, the albums that came out today. There are so many. It's not even funny to talk about it because it's so many of them. So I will owe you on that. So let's sit here and talk about this. I think what we're going to do is we're going to jump to the Motivation Minute, because I think that that's going to be the best case scenario. So let's bring some John Smalls back inside of here. Let him give you some motivation for today.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by Harry. Jimmy Dean said, "I can't change the direction of the wind, but I can adjust my sails to always reach my destination." I love this quote. I actually used to have a photo of a sailboat hanging in my office, and this quote was on that photo. Now, the company I worked for at the time would pound into us, "Control the things you can control." So I actually put that under the quote as well. The company would remind us that we cannot make somebody say yes, but if we do not give them the opportunity and we don't ask for their order, we're saying no for them. So be sure to get out there and ask for their business. If you're not doing that, you're saying no for them. Give enough people the chance to work with you, and you'll get some who say yes. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by AlessaMorgan.com. European Journal of Clinical Nutrition published a paper where they took a look at 80 obese individuals that were insulin resistant and divided them into 4 groups. The groups included diets with moderate amount of protein from animal sources, moderate amounts of protein from plant sources, high amounts of protein from animal, and high amounts of protein from plant sources. What the scientists discovered was that both groups that consumed high amounts of protein from animal and plant sources both had extreme improvement between 60 and 90% in insulin sensitivity after only 1 month. This study once again demonstrates the importance of incorporating more protein into your diet and how much this can help with improving biomarkers and body's ability to handle insulin. For more information, check out alessamorgan.com.
Warning. Listening to other radio stations could cause testicle shrinkage. I'm talking truth.
Hello. I'm Richard Exley with your 1-minute devotion. Although the term Trinity does not appear anywhere in Scripture, the concept is present in both the Old and New Testament. When we speak of the Trinity, we're not referring to three gods, but one God manifest in three persons. Jesus is a co-equal member of the Godhead with the Father and the Holy Spirit. We call that the Trinity. One God manifest in three persons. How this can be is, well, it's beyond our limited human intellect. We cannot fully explain it, but we accept it by faith. Lord, renew our minds and increase our faith. In your holy name we pray. Amen. If these devotions are a blessing and an encouragement to you, you can subscribe at oneminutedevotion.com.
Who truly cares what this guy has to say? Who gives a shit? Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, yes, we are still keeping it rated R here on this lovely Friday as we are broadcasting from the Safety 2 Practical Application Conference taking place in good old St. Petersburg, Florida. So that's where we're hanging out and doing all the fun stuff that we get to do. So don't worry about that as we are coming to you from here and doing it live. It is currently 52 minutes past the top of the hour. Listen, this is hour 1 of the Jay Allen in the Morning Show. You still have the opportunity to listen to hour 2 and 3. You can take a listen to that on RadioBig.fm if you want to come and hang out and do the stuff that we get to do. Anyways, in case you did not know, we will be actually doing a workshop this year coming out of Santa Fe, New Mexico. Yes, good old Todd Conklin, Bob Edwards, Mark Yeston, Martha Acosta, and yours truly will all be there doing this event in Santa Fe, New Mexico. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to safetyfm.io. That's safetyfm.io to find out more information on what is going on in the workshop. You can actually pick how many days you want to be there. It's anywhere between the range of listen to me, to 1 and 4. So there you go. Some combination of stuff that you can do if you're so inclined to do so. So there you go right there. Let's get into some other news as we still have a little bit of time before we have to get you out of here and get into some other sequence of events. So there is no doubt about that. Let's talk real quick about Did You Know? Many people love nothing better than to relax with a nice hot cup of tea, but Australian favorite scientists have revealed that a TikTok clip that there was a DNA trace of up to 400 insects in every tea bag. In the video, Dr. Carl says that the DNA is usually fairly fragile and can be destroyed by the ultraviolet light and can be washed by the rain, but can survive if conditions are dark and dry, like the inside of a tea bag. He also points out that that means that the tea fields are hives of biohazards that are inside of the tea. There is a link available if you want to take a look at that on TikTok. Well, we did love to relax with a nice cup of tea until that information was released. At least that's the way it's going to come across, if I can imagine that. Anyways, let's talk about some things that happened back on this date, because I think that that's going to be important for you. So taking a look around, and if we go all the way back down to, let's not go too far. Let's go into 2021. The world's oldest known cave painting of an animal is discovered in the cave of Indonesia. The painting is a life-size portrait of a wild pig and is believed to be over 45,000 years old. The previous closest dated rock and painting was featuring a painting of a human and a part animal figure was believed to be at least 43,000 years old. So there you go. Anyways, let's talk about some birthdays real quick. Liam Hemsworth turns 33, Orlando Bloom 46, Nicole Eggert 51, Shonda Rhimes 53, Patrick Dempsey 57, Julia Louis-Dreyfus turned 62, Janet Hubbard Winton turned 67, and Drew Abbott turned 76 today. If you're looking at some reasons to celebrate today, I have some of those for you as well, so you don't have to worry about that. And what would be the reason you want to celebrate? Well, Korean American Day, Stephen Foster Memorial Day, Make Your Dream Come True Day, National Sticker Day, National Rubber Ducky Day, Public Radio Broadcasting Day, National Peach Melba Day, and International Skeptics Day. I feel like I celebrate that day quite often if I'm keeping it 100 here. If I'm keeping it 100 on the things that seems to be taking place. That is for sure. Anyways, 56 minutes past. Let's take a look around on some other things, because I always feel like when we get to these latter portions of the show, I feel like I'm rushing you out. I'm telling you, get out of here. Get out of here as soon as you can. I don't know if that's the right thing to do, but maybe it is, maybe it isn't. There's a lot of stuff that is going on as we are talking. At least it seems that way as we are moving into this. Let me take a moment real quick. Maybe we should do it this way. I want to say thank you to the Safety 2 Practical Application Conference people for allowing us, number one, to broadcast from here, because it's not an easy feat to get this all set up, but I appreciate them allowing us to do so. And it's been amazing just being able to listen to the different speakers and the things that are going on. Well, we will be doing some more broadcasts live from here today, if you want to take a listen to what's going on. And as you're taking a listen to some of the podcasting sequences, you'll take a listen to some of the conference speeches that have gone on here. So I want you to be on the lookout for that over the next coming week. So don't worry, we will get those all set up for you to be able to take a gander and take a listen to. So, but I really do want to tell the people of the Safety 2 Practical Application Conference how grateful I am for them allowing us to actually broadcast from here. So there you go. So a lot of stuff going on right there as we are speaking. Let's continue moving into some other things before we get you out of here. I know that it's kind of an interesting time as we are doing everything so early in the morning. Well, I guess it really depends on where you are located. Let's take a look at this. If you need a random joke for today, try this one. If you really love something, set it free unless it's a tiger. If you need a phone starter for today, try this. What is the last thing that made you facepalm? Question. In a survey of nearly half of the people said that they never experienced this as a child. What is it? Being grounded. Boy, did you live a good life if you've never experienced being grounded. I can't even tell you how many times I was grounded when I was a kid. I mean, it's a ridiculous amount of time. And it was over the weirdest thing, but I guess when you go to religious private school, and of course you're a person such as myself, you're going to get in trouble for a lot of things that you don't expect to get in trouble for, but that's neither here nor there. I guess that's the way the cookie crumbles as we are talking about this. That is for sure. Anyways, thank you for always being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener, because without you, we could not do what we do around here. That is for sure. Come out, hang out with us. We'll be going over to hour number 2 and hour number 3 on RadioBig.fm. That's the Jay Allen of the Morning Show, as we are doing all the lovely stuff that we get to do over there. So we're looking forward to speaking to you as we hang out. If I can't leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this one. If grass can grow through cement, success can find you at any time in your life. Think about that, because that's going to take you to places that you never thought you would. Anyways, I know who you are. Yes, I really do. You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye. Thanks for hanging out. Thank you, Sue, for being the best part. See you soon.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.